The following program is suitable for all audiences.
Most basketball teams and coaching staff say, we're going to start our best player.
Yeah.
But the Bulls aren't doing that. The Bulls are starting their best player and then putting four of the players that they'd like to get better around him. And so it's dragging Zach's numbers down. And it's also making the bench look way better. So that you see the differential with the bench and the starters. And it's the best bench in the league because most of them are starter quality people. And the guys that are starters are bench quality people.
I'm just very excited about this kid, Pat Will, the paw, as Stacey likes to call him. When you watch how he plays defensively, when the ball's on the other side of the court, he's instantly head's already on a swivel. He's already positioning himself for help. If the ball's up top, he's in almost like a deny situation. He's got his hand ready to go. Offensively, he cuts hard. He boxes out. He goes up for rebounds with two hands. Things that you would think every basketball player would do, which they don't. He does, and it's already at 19.
This is Bulls 101 with Kris Amundsen and Larro Golden.
What's up, guys? Welcome to an emergency session of Bulls 101. I'm here with my guy, Larro Golden. What's going on, Larro?
Yo. How you doing, man? I'm excited, man. I'm excited for tonight, man. I'm excited.
I know you are. I know you're excited. What's up, guys? In the comments, I see Daniel. Daniel's already there. Pouring out for my guy, Wendell Carter Jr. Pouring out for my guy. Yeah, what an amazing day. I think a very unexpected day for Bulls fans with the trades that went down today. I don't think we've had trades like this on deadline day in decades. I can't remember the last time we made a trade to improve the team. So it's a new era. It's a new era.
Yeah, yes, man. It definitely is.
And I know last night, me and you were talking yesterday after that Cavaliers loss and kind of the depression among the fan base. And, you just kind of got to that point where you're like, we're ready for changes. Let's hope for some changes. And boy, did we get some changes today. So as it says down below, the Bulls went out and got another all-star in Nikola Vučević from the Orlando Magic and also forward Al-Farouq Aminu. The Chief, they got them in exchange for Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter Jr., so both the juniors are gone, and 2 first-round picks. Both those first-round picks, it's 2021, that's this year's, and 2023. They're both top 4 protected. So the way the lottery odds work now is if you're in the top 14, you have a chance to jump up into the top 4. So the Bulls basically protected themselves. If they were in that position and it went 1 through 4, they'd keep the pick. Otherwise, it goes to the Magic. So I think is a pretty solid trade.
Yeah,
what do you think about the trade itself?
Man, where do I start, man? First of all, can we talk about how dude, AK is like a shark, man. He's just a shark in the water, man. Like he sniffs a little bit of blood, like it's over with. Like, I mean, AK just dominated the day for me, man. I mean, it was great. But getting Nikola Vučević, I can't wait to talk about him. This is going to be a great addition to our team. The Chief, hey, I got love for him, but he might not see the floor. He might be on the bench for a lot, but
he might be a breaking case of emergency this year. We'll see.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, that was not the only trade of the day. In fact, we got another 3-team trade. This one I thought was even more impressive. I know getting an all-star was impressive, but we paid a price for that, right? You have to pay the first-round picks, the young talent in Wendell Carter. But this trade was really interesting. We sent out Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchison to the Wizards, and we sent Luke Cornett to the Celtics. And in return, we got Daniel Tice from the Celtics and Javonte Green. And then from the Wizards, we got Troy Brown Jr. Troy Brown Jr. is a guy I was talking about early in the year as a buy low candidate. He's a 6'6" wing, small forward. And he's kind of been lost in the rotation there, but I think he has some promise. And then Daniel Tice, when the deal originally was originally talked about, we were getting from the Wizards. Shoot, what's his name? From Germany.
Mo Wagner.
Yeah, Mo Wagner.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, our rim protection is officially gone. but we rerouted him to the Celtics as well in that deal. So it was a great deal. Daniel Tice is super underrated as a interior defender. So very excited about the team and the new look Bulls. So we just kind of want to get a little high level for Bulls fans of what each of these players are going to provide to the Bulls, how they could fit, and what we're excited about. But before we get started, we gotta say goodbye and thank you to the Bulls players that left. Otto Porter Jr. was the biggest contract. He had such a great start to his Bulls tenure, and then the injuries derailed it like it has derailed a lot of other people here. So, I hope he can recover because he's 27. He's still got a lot to give, I think, and he can make a team really, really good. So, maybe he's headed for a buyout with the Wizards, but with the Magic. We'll see.
I mean, Otto is like you said, when he started out with us, it was great, man. You saw him putting up some good numbers. He was balling out, and then things happen, man. The back, the foot. It was rough for Otto, man. But like you said, man, I hope none but good things for him going forward, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and then Chandler Hutchison, who's from my hometown. And he's been having some personal issues. He hadn't played since I think February 2nd was the last time he played. He's still got a couple years on his deal, but he's a good guy. I wish the best for him. I think he can, find a role somewhere else. He'd kind of fallen out of the rotation here. And Daniel Gafford. I mean, Daniel Gafford was a lot of fun to watch, right? He had his ups and downs, right? He had some troubles in the starting lineup. The Daniel Gafford movement took a blow a little bit, but he's a lot of fun. He's always bringing the energy off the bench, the dunks, the blocks. Just he had that energy. So I really hope he shows out. Hope he shows out because he was a cool player. It seemed like a really down to earth guy. I really liked him a lot. And he's a nice bench big, and he's still young. Still got a lot of room to grow.
It's DG has a lot of room to grow. He does. I got to be honest. I'm not that high on DG, and it's more so just because I really don't know what I'm going to get from DG every night. I don't know if it's because he needed a new defensive scheme. I don't know, but I just didn't. Even when we drafted him, it was cool. He was a high jumper. He was high flying. He can put one on your head, but I didn't know where he was going to come in and be effective because honestly, I mean, even when he does give you energy plays and things like that, but it just wasn't, like where you can count on it, where and he wasn't a good defensive rebounder. He was good offensively rebounding, but I mean, I don't know. I just wasn't that high on him. So, yeah.
Well, you mentioned something important here, which is the consistency aspect. And I think with all of the players that got sent out, consistency or lack of it was, I think, a contributing factor. Otto with the injuries, Daniel Gafford kind of having his ups and downs, Chandler being out. You got Luke Cornett, who I really liked the signing when he got signed because he had a pretty good run with the Knicks. He was a decent shooter. He was a decent shot blocker. He did not have a great time here in Chicago, and I think was trolled by the fan base a little bit too. And then Wendell Carter was the major piece that went out in the Vučević trade. Obviously, he was near and dear to our hearts because I think we appreciated a lot of the things that fans didn't see that he did.
Yeah,
he was a great interior defender, even though he got. He got blamed for every little thing that the Bulls did wrong on defense. But the man really. I want to make the joke that's like Wendell died for Kobe and Lowry's defensive sins and got shipped out. But I wish him the best. He's got some time with the Orlando Magic to figure it out. But I think Vooch does a really great job of coming into that center spot and providing some pop to that lineup, some offensive, some defensive versatility. Skokin here says the defense. There's a little bit of worry about the defense. I think Troy Brown and Al-Farouq Aminu help that a little bit. Troy Brown can be a good defender. So let's get into each of these guys. But I just want to wish those guys the best. Wendell as well. You know, I know Mark came on and he talked about Wendell. I know he's a big fan of Wendell.
Yeah,
I just thought the guy got a lot of undeserved hate. He was a lot better than what people showed, but he did have a lot of confidence issues. He was inconsistent at the end here, so and hadn't really shown enough improvement, I think, to prevent the front office from moving on. But you said something really important I want you to expound upon, which is the front office showed their faith in Zach, and they said, "Hey, we think you're an all-star. We think you can take us somewhere. Let's pair you with some guys that can do that for you. Let's get you some better teammates." I've been harping on that all year, that Zach Levine's best teammate is Thad Young this year, which is kind of sad, as great as Thad has been.
Yeah, right.
So,
right.
So what are they doing to help Zach now?
So, I mean, I for these pickups, mostly Vuč. Zach, if you got, obviously everybody that's watching our show, they are pretty consistent viewers of the Bulls games, so they understand what's been going on. And if you've been watching, you see that we play in certain games, well, most of our games actually, we played pretty good for 42, 43 minutes. And then fourth quarter comes and it's just, something just happens. We just don't play well. And a part of what I believe has been a problem is that we don't have a guy that can take pressure off of Zach in those moments, because Zach has to carry the offense so much in those other amount of minutes that when fourth quarter comes, teams start to pay a little bit more attention to him. They start running, triangle and twos, blitzing the pick and rolls, doubling him right away. And you can't play Thad that many minutes. You still, like Billy has said before, you want to alleviate having to play him that many minutes so he can get the best ad every time he's out there. So adding a guy like Nico, I guess you could still call him that, but Vučević, he is everything that Zach is going to love, because he's a pretty good facilitator. He can play from the post. He can play from the mid range. He can shoot from three. He's just going to take so much pressure off of Zach. And if you don't mind rolling a little bit of the Vučević tape here, there's just a couple things. So, I mean, I'm not going to really break down everything, but kind of just getting an idea of what Vuč brings is just the versatility. Like, if you're looking at these clips, you see what he can do. He can spot up from three, catch and shoot. He can take guys like the last clip against Ayton. He was able to take him off the dribble and get to the bucket and finish over the top. He's able to get in there and use his body and grab offensive rebounds and put him back up. That clip is he was able to dribble the ball up himself and pull up and shoot a jumper. Now, if you can go back to that last clip and just slow it down a little bit, when he was on the right block there. But yeah, no. So basically with Nico, what people need to understand is that if you watch the Denver Nuggets play, and I know people have probably been saying this all day today, Vučević is not Jokic. I'm not trying to, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying he's Jokic.
You heard it here first, folks.
But if you think about what we're going to be able to do in the fourth quarters, when we need a bucket, when we need to put teams away, a lot of teams like to have their bread and butter, something they can always go to that will not be stopped. There's always a counter to it. And now we have that. And if you remember watching the Nuggets games, both of them that we played, they were able to, you know what? All right, let's put Jokic on the block. Let's put Zach at the point and just spread it out. Right. So now we can play the 2-man game. Either you can play the pick and roll, or you can play the 2-man game in terms of, all right, well, let's get the ball to Vučević. And if they don't double, it's a bucket. And if they do double, I pass it out to Zach, and now we can attack closeouts. There's just so many different things you can do now with him. And it's not going to do anything but help Zach go to another level, because now he can play off the ball a little bit more, And did you have something you wanted to say too, Kris?
Yeah, I mean, no, you're exactly right, because if you look at Zach's numbers in the pick and roll this year, he's been absolutely a monster. And especially when he's doubled, he has one of the highest conversion rates in the entire league. I think second only to Kevin Durant among ball handlers that are highly trapped, And so they're sending doubles. Now, Thad and Wendell had done a really good job of that high or short roll, making passes out of that to kind of be that release valve for Zach, right?
Yep.
Vučević is only going to make that better because now Vuč can play from that short roll. He's a post-up threat, as you mentioned. He can pop to the three-point line, especially both Zach and Vuč are great three-point shooters above the break. They are going to be an absolute terror on offense to guard because Zach finishes at the rim so well. He's so quick. He's so explosive and athletic. These two guys together are going to be a very, very versatile duo, I think, on offense. I know we talked after the Cleveland game just between us how we really needed that second score, that consistent second score that, Lowry has kind of provided sometimes, but it's been a little bit too little, too late sometimes, or just so inconsistent. Vuč and Zach are the only two. I think there's 4 players in the NBA that are scoring, I think it was 20 points or more a game, and 6 3-point attempts at 40% or more conversion rate. And the Bulls have 2 of them in Vuč and Zach LaVine. So offensively, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And also too, something like with Pat, right? Pat, what we're starting to see these last couple of games is that he's a really good cutter. And now with a guy like Vuč, not only, because you only saw those cuts being taken advantage of when Thad was out there, because Thad was just such a great reader of the floor and understanding how to read doubles and defensive rotations and things like that. Now we have a second guy. We have a second guy in Vuč who is going to demand a lot of attention. So there's going to be more opportunities to cut because you're going to get guys that are going to be worried about Vuč in the post. And next thing you know, you got Pat back cutting him or front cutting him, and it's a dunk or it's a layup. So there's just so many different things that Vuč is going to bring to this team that we're not like a lot of people aren't even going to notice that. Like, man, why weren't we doing that before? It's because we didn't have a guy that demanded this much attention in the post area, and it's going to be fun to watch, man. We could talk about Vuč and Zach all this show, and also too, like I'm pretty sure as well, like Zach's one of the best pick and roll ball handlers in the game.
Yes, he is.
And then you got Vuč, who's one of the best roll men in the game. And it's going to be fun, man. I don't know what else to say. It's going to be fun as a Bulls fan. So,
it's rejuvenated Bulls fans, I think, to have 2 All-Stars on the team. And what's really cool about them from a financial standpoint is neither of them are on max contracts.
Yeah. And
so they've got a little bit more room to play with and to build around. And as you mentioned, it's just going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be consistent offense. The offense has been kind of middling, which is much better than it was the year before when it was 28th or 29th in the league.
Yeah.
But with Zach's improvement in the pick and roll, and now with a pick and roll, pick and pop partner in Vučević, I don't know what they're going to do.
No.
I don't know what they're going to do to defend that. I mean, Zach has been unstoppable all year long without help. And so I'm really excited for the possibilities of what he's going to do with another top 100 player, not only top 100 player, but an all-star caliber player next to him.
To go with that for both sides, Vuč has never had a guy like Zach either. So it's going to be fun. They're both going to have fun. They're both going to I feel like they're both going to be like so excited that they don't have to do everything and they're not dependent on the drop 30 every game, which they probably will because they're just that good of scorers. But it's just like it's gonna be fun, man. And I keep saying that word fun because it just is, man. I can't even. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, let's talk about some of the other additions here that come on. I know Vuč is going to get a lot of attention. If you guys want to join us again on Saturday, we're going to have a longer show. We're going to be able to break down film a little bit more. I mean, obviously, we didn't even know Vučević was an option until this morning when I woke up to the news.
Exactly.
So we'll have a bigger breakdown on Saturday, and I think we'll be able to kind of identify where Zach and Vuč can really work well together.
Yeah,
but
I'll kind of to go, not to cut you off, Chris, my bad about that, but just for the viewers, like what I'll probably do is I'll go through the week before we get to Saturday and look at some of the different defensive coverages that teams have thrown at Vučević and see what he may have done to defeat those, and what he could do with us. So that's something I'm going to dig into a little bit too, probably after I get off of here. So
it's a late night coming for you. Well, you reminded me of something though, which is AK's comments today about how Vučević fits. He says he's going to slide right in. With a lot of the offense, that free flowing, a lot of ball movement, lots of cutting, lots of shooting. That sort of offense caters to Vučević's style, and that's what the Bulls have been playing all year. And defensively, you look at the Bulls; they've been running drop coverage. Yep. They were running it with Wendell, and they were running it with Daniel Gafford. And they had Thad hedging a little bit more on the pick and roll, but with Vučević coming in, you're going to see a lot more drop, I think, with him, because Vučević defensively, he's not bad. I think he's underrated. He gets a worse reputation than he is, but he's not super quick on his feet. So they've tried to play him up and hedge, and I'm sure you'll talk about that on Saturday. They've tried to play him up at the level of the screen on pick and roll defense this year and other years, but he works a lot better in drop where he's got that time to meet them at the rim. Yep. But he's not a big rim protector. He's not an amazing defender, but he's not going to hurt you out there, and he's pretty smart. So I think they've lost a step defensively at the center position from Wendell to Vučević, but what you're gaining on offense and playmaking and what's going to help Zach, I think, has obviously more than made up for it. So we'll move on from Vučević. We'll talk about Al-Farouq Aminu for a second here. I know we got a clip we'll talk about Daniel Theis in just a second, but just with Aminu real quickly, he's kind of a defensive 3, more of a 4 now. He's been injured quite a bit, but I think he's still got something to bring to the team as a defensive 4, which you don't really have as much with Thad and Lowry as our 4, and then kind of Pat is still a little too young, I think, to really be a reliable defensive stopper. But he's kind of more of one of those break-in case of emergency guys, don't you think?
Right. Yeah, no, it's like, when you got to break the glass, get the fire extinguisher, that's you go and get Aminu, grab him out of there, but other than that,
But he's been in a lot of situations in playoff situations before. He's been a key piece of a lot of different teams. So I think he's still got a lot to provide at minimum the veteran leadership, but still a lot to provide. So now we can move on to Daniel Theis, who we got from the Celtics. I can't believe we got him from the Celtics for the price that we did. We actually not only got back him in exchange for Luke Cornett, but we also got cash considerations. So shout out to Ricky and Jason and their podcast, Cash Considerations, for that. So let's talk about Daniel Theis and what he brings to the team.
Yeah, I mean, these clips here, I just kind of saw these and I thought these are just perfect examples of what he'll be able to bring on the offensive side, because we all know that he's going to bring some toughness. He's a hard-nosed guy on the defensive side of the ball. But I just wanted to kind of show what he can help us with on the offense, especially Zach. If you can, say, for instance, we stagger Zach and Vučević, and Zach's out there. Theis is a guy, like right here, can you go back to when they were at the screen? This is something that Wendell had a problem with. And now if you could just roll it, like a lot of times bigs don't really read the floor really well sometimes when they're setting the screen. What Theis did really well there is he read the double was coming, the blitz was coming, so he got out right away, which allowed him to open a window to get that pass in there. And a lot of bigs don't do that. They wait too long, and then all of a sudden, even when they roll, the ball can't get there because they're already closed up on them. So just that small little thing there is so huge, especially for a guy like Zach, because he's going to see a lot of this. And there, boom, right? There's a lot of times where Wendell, when he get the ball there, he wouldn't even look at the basket. He wouldn't even take the shot. Mm-hmm. Theis is somebody that can knock that 15-footer down. And now you're going to get guys that have to creep up on him. And if the drop wants to stay there, I mean, he's also a good passer out of that as well. So it's just Theis with these clips, you get to see a little bit what he brings, right? So he's a good screener. He was rolling. And once again, he pulls up with a nice little touch around, nice touch. He drops it right in. And that's like you said, we're going to go in a little bit more in depth with a lot of these guys on Saturday, but I just wanted to show a little bit of what he can bring offensively. because we do know what he's good at offensively. He's just a hard-nosed guy. So
yeah, no, he's done a lot of dirty work for the Celtics over the last couple of years, and it was underappreciated, I think, on the national stage. But I think Celtics fans really appreciated what he brought to the table on a defensive level, and offensively, he is extremely efficient at the rim. He's shooting like 75% at the rim, and he's also shooting high 50s and low 60s in the mid range, and he can even go out to three. He's shooting about 34%, which is not terrible. And even just the small things, that little screen and roll that they played, that Aldo played before, just the way that he rolling the correct way to be looking at the ball. That's something that a lot of bigs don't even do. And it's just fundamentals like that he's just got really solid. Now he's only 6'8". So, he's a small ball center. I think he would fit really, really well next to Lowry off the bench, because Lowry, you can pull him out to the 3-point line, and Lowry doesn't offer really the rim protection. And you can put Tyson there to do a little bit of the dirty work. I think it's a really, really great addition next to Lowry. And I think he can also fit next to Thad or Vučević pretty easily as well.
Definitely. And I saw one of the comments that our boy Dan that says he can pass too. And he definitely can. And like I said, we're going to go a little bit more in depth with these guys on Saturday to show a little bit more what they do. Like I said, we run a lot of pick and roll. So I just wanted to kind of just show maybe a little bit of what he can do. So.
Shout out to Chris Gonzalez. Thanks for the shout out, buddy. We're excited to be here. On this Thursday evening. Yeah. So let's talk about the next candidate, which is Troy Brown Jr. So I'm excited about this kid. Yeah. He's only 21. He's got some time. We got him on a cheap contract next year. He is. I said that the perimeter defense was our number one need. Yes. Now I thought Lonzo would have been a really good kind of 1-2 punch with solving a little bit of the playmaking portion of what we need and the perimeter defense. But I think Troy Brown Jr. is a pretty nice consolation prize. I know we weren't able to get Lonzo today. Yeah. That may come in the offseason, but he plays with some fire. He's got good size. He's 6'6". He's got, I think, a 6'10" or 11 wingspan. And he's athletic. He can make dunks. He can shoot a little bit from all over the floor. Now his percentages are still pretty inconsistent right now, but he really brings a lot to the table. And on a buy low candidate opportunity, I think this is the perfect buy low opportunity, because all it really cost them was Gafford and Hutch, both of which I think are far more limited in their potential than Troy Brown. I think Troy Brown can be a really, really solid piece going forward. He's just got to put it together and get some playing time, and I think he's going to get some on this team. Definitely.
TBJ is someone that, like, again, like we talked about before, if you're just kind of like a person that only watches the Bulls, or you don't really pay attention to the Wizards, you're not going to know too much about him. But this is a guy who has unlimited potential. I should say untapped potential, because he's someone that's still young. He's 21. He's 6'6". He's gonna be what we need, where we can play if we need to switch everything. He's gonna be a guy we can put in there that's gonna be able to stay in front of the ball and compete. He's a guy that is pretty good. He's got quick hands. He's gonna be able to get in there and get some steals, maybe get out on the break. He's someone that is going to be huge for this team in terms of, like I said, like we've said, defensively. And I think, again, that having a developmental kind of mindset with the coaching staff, this is going to be a great place for him, because who knows? You never know. In the Wizards, he might have just been thrown at the end of the bench there and they don't really pay attention. I like that we have coaches that really want to develop guys. And for a guy like TBJ, this is a great place for him. He's going to be able to play, and also he's going to be able to get some good work in developmentally. He's got a guy like Zach, who's a guy that loves to help his teammates. Got a great vets in Temple and Thad. They're also going to be able to put TBJ under their wing. So this is a great spot for him. He's going to be able to play, and he's going to learn. So it's perfect.
You know, and Vince mentioned he's got some ball skills. He can dribble. Yes. He can pass. His passing, I think, is underrated. He throws some bomb passes, like one hand slinging across the court. He's pretty good at those. and he's athletic.
Yeah.
I think he's got a lot of promise. He's got a lot of promise, and if he's only making, I think, five and a half million this year. So it's a great pickup for the Bulls.
Also, to answer that question from Shokin, I don't believe they've announced anything, but I'm sure, I don't know about you, Chris, I'm sure that they may have to go through COVID testing or some type of physical, something like that before they play. Who knows? Maybe they're doing that now. Maybe they might be able to play Saturday, but I wouldn't, take us on that because we haven't heard anything. So.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I imagine that the schedule was set up with COVID in mind and those protocols in place. And I would say probably as long as they were in protocols for some reason at the trade deadline. We've seen other trades take place recently where the guy was able to basically step on the court with the new team the next day. So I'm hoping by Saturday they'll be good to go, but I don't know for sure.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
All right, and then who's our final guy? Let me check my stats here.
We got Javonte Green. Brother
This guy's
Javonte.
fun. This guy's fun. This man is hops. This man has some hops.
The thing I love about this guy is he plays with a bunch of energy, and like that, he's a high flyer. He's going to compete on the defensive end. Like these two clips, like I said, we're going to go in deep a little bit more on some of these guys on Saturday, but just these two clips here just kind of show what he brings. Like he's a guy that's going to get out on the break. He's going to go try to dunk on somebody's head, and he's going to compete on the defensive end. I mean, a lot of these clips here are from him playing good defense, being in the right position, and getting out and going to finish. So we don't know if he's going to see the floor, but he may compete. And Dan, that's great. He is like a mini Nwaba. I think he is. That is a great comparison. So hey, man, if he gets on the floor, just know you're going to see a guy that's going to compete. He's not going to be one of those guys where you're looking like, why is he on the floor? You're going to see a guy that's going to compete. He's going to give it his all. And for a guy like him that plays for the Bulls, that's from a blue collar town, they're going to love a guy like that if he gets to touch the floor. So.
Yeah. So he's a 6'4" shooting guard, just to let everyone know. He's got a nice wingspan. He's got nice athleticism. As you said, he competes. He brings that energy. So he's probably also a guy that's not going to see a ton of minutes, right? Just because we got Zach and Kobe at the two in front of him, and maybe Denzel Valentine in spurts as well as Garrett Temple. So that kind of that 2-3 spot, there's a lot of guys there looking for minutes, but
right.
He's a guy I think you can trust in limited minutes to come in and bring that energy, just like a Daniel Gafford on a Daniel Gafford good night, exactly what you kind of want from someone. So that's kind of breaking down the guys that we brought in. Now let's talk about just for a few minutes the deals that didn't happen. I know Chris Gonzalez just asked, how close were we on a Lonzo Ball or a Malcolm Brogdon deal? So Brogdon was rumored to be available a few days before the deadline. I was really excited about that because I thought at the price, it was a guaranteed price. I think he's making $20 million. He's in the second year of his contract. He was a guy I thought we should have signed when we signed Sato.
Yeah.
But he was just a little bit out of the price range and wasn't, it wasn't in the cards there. But he's a guy that has really developed as a playmaker. He can shoot, he can pass, he can defend. So he was a really good option there at point guard. We didn't hear anything on deadline day at all about him. So I'm not sure how true it was that he was available. Maybe they're just kind of testing the market and seeing what was up.
Yeah.
As far as Lonzo Ball, that one seemed to have a lot of smoke behind it. And I know there was reports that the Bulls had offered Satoransky and 2 second-round picks at one point. There was another report that said they had offered Lowry straight up for him, but that the Pelicans were seeking another draft asset. Specifically, I think they said a first-round pick in this draft, which was a little bit maybe too rich of a price to pay, especially since we sent that out in the Vučević deal. So I think we were in serious talks with Lonzo Ball, and I know a lot of Bulls fans were really excited. I don't think Lonzo Ball solves all our problems, but as I said earlier in the show here, he solves some perimeter defense. He's a great perimeter defense player. He is a ball mover and connector. He can really, he's a gifted passer, just like his brother. Not a huge playmaker, like he doesn't get to the rim very often, but the man can shoot three. He's shot 37, 38, 39% in the last 2 years since he kind of reworked his whole shot mechanics, and his free throw percentage is also climbing as well. So
right.
Yeah, there was also Skokin mentioned there was also a report that said we might be interested in Gary Trent Jr. I think Gary Trent, did he end up going to Portland? Or I'm sorry, to Toronto?
I think so. Yeah. Yep.
For Norman Powell, I think. Yep. Yeah, so they ended up going there. So I'm not sure how real the interest was there, but there was talks about because he's a restricted free agent this offseason. So I think there was maybe a potential Lowry swap there because he plays that small forward position. So I know they were looking to beef that up after they traded Otto Porter out.
Also, too, I kind of wanted to touch a little bit on the Lonzo thing. The way I think about it is that I feel like AK went about it the right way, because if they're asking for the amount of stuff they're asking for Lonzo, I feel like it was the right mindset to be like, you know what? I know there's interest from Lonzo to be here. So, you know what? We'll keep Lowry, and then we'll go from there. Because if you think about it, like, yeah, Lowry, the reason I had a problem with Lowry is at the way the team was constructed before the trades, he was our second option. And I kind of feel like I like Lowry if he's like our third or fourth. But if you have to count on him as our second, that's a problem for me because he's kind of inconsistent. Like we saw in the Cavs game in the first half, he was looking like a totally different dude on the offensive end. We're like, whoa. Like you're about to get traded and this is how you going to play, you know? And then he fell back into his ways in the second half. Now, if we're going to have Lowry coming off the bench, I can get with that. I can get with a 7-footer coming off the bench that can give you 19 and give you 40% shooting. I can get with that when he's got a guy like Tice that can be with him. That way his defensive ability is not that big of a deal. And, you know, maybe you can put him with like Troy Brown a little bit to kind of cover up his inability on the defensive end. So I kind of feel what AK might have been thinking is like, you know, we'll just go get Lonzo in the offseason. Then if you guys, you know, we're not, you know, for what you guys are asking for, no, that's fine. And then on top of that, with our buddy Ryan, who was on the show last time, with the cap that we're going to have basically in the offseason, we'll definitely be able to go get him. So it kind of made sense in a way. So that's just the way I thought about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest surprise for me of the deadline, besides getting an all-star in Vučević, was the fact that Lowry was not traded. I expected that to happen. There was a lot of interest in Lowry apparently around the league. They were said to be shopping him. So I was a little surprised that he didn't move. And especially, as you mentioned, being that second option, I thought he's not right now at his current production is not good enough to warrant that type of contract unless he starts putting together things on the defensive end or rebounding to passing or something, you know, self-creation wasn't happening. But now that you've got Vučević in there, if Lowry is your option shooting the ball on the wing, you know, 3-point on the wing or in the corner, you know, as your third option or your fourth option, it's going to be way better, I think. So, we'll see what happens this offseason. You know, I'm not sure if Lowry's still the long-term answer. Right. I would suspect that he's not, because I think Vučević basically does all the things that you would hope Lowry could do one day, and he's gonna command a big price. And I know that the Bulls are looking to address the point guard position, as you mentioned, as Ryan mentioned last week. At the time, we had cap space to sign Lonzo to a $20 million deal or more. The cap is a little tighter now because you got Vučević on the books. You got Al-Farouq Aminu on the books next year. So, Ryan, if you want to go check out at Ryan Borja on Twitter, he broke it down today that kind of the new cap figures are looking like the space is real small unless we renounce Lowry's cap hold, which is about $20 million. So if we do that and we can work some things out with Thad and Sato, we have the ability to sign a point guard. So it's going to be fascinating to see the offseason because Lonzo Ball's going to be available. Spencer Dinwiddie's going to be available. Devontae Graham's going to be available from the Hornets. Right. There's some, and maybe Malcolm Brogdon, maybe those types of talks, the trade talks might pick up in the offseason. So I think there's some options here. They've said that they're not done yet, that they're looking to address the point guard position going forward. But there's a lot to look forward to, I think, for the rest of the season. Yeah, we've also got, as Chris Gonzalez mentions, we also got Dotson on the end of the bench here. He's spent some time in the G League. Yeah. I'd like to see him get those Arch minutes personally, because I know what Arch brings, but I'd like to see Dotson a little bit more. I think he's got some skills.
Yeah, no, he's still recovering from an injury right now, right? Because I feel like if he was healthy, I feel like he would maybe have gotten a little bit of a chance, but I feel like he's had some injury. I think it was to his leg or something, I believe. So I don't know. But I agree. We should be giving Dotson a look. I believe he brings some penetration ability to be able to get into the paint and drive and kick game. I believe he has that ability. So, and he was a pretty good pick and roll player in college as well. So, I mean, there's some ability there. He just needs the opportunity. So,
yeah, I agree. I think Ricky O'Donnell said today, he said he had a source that said that he was injured before, but he is back and ready to play. So it'd be fun to see him. I mean, we may not get to see him unless it's garbage time minutes, but hey, maybe if Vuč and Zach are scoring, 60, 70 a night together, then we may have some garbage time minutes.
Man.
I'd like to see us win some games. That's the other thing that was kind of concerning is we've got a really tough road schedule coming out of the this trade deadline. So really interested to see how this new Bulls team responds and gels together. Billy Donovan's got a lot on his plate to try and get these guys gelling together on offense and defense, but I think there's a lot to be excited for. So anything else you want to say, Larro? I know we've gone about 45 minutes here on this episode, but I want to see if there's anything else or we can get back here on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, only quick thing I'll say is like in terms of Vuč, the offense that they ran in Orlando is pretty similar to what we do. A lot of dribble handoffs, pick and roll, a lot of the same things. So I don't think it will be, that he has to get used to something. I think if anything, it's going to be a lot easier for him with Zach. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun, man. So yeah, like on Saturday, we can come back here and just kind of go at it.
Yeah. And on Saturday, we've got another guest for you as well. It's Marcus Couch. He is one of the original Bulls podcasters. He runs the Bulls podcast, which he's reviving again. So we're excited to talk to him, see how he's doing and what's new. And we'll get to breaking down some film on, especially, I know we're going to break down film on Tice and on Vuč and on Troy Brown, I think, as well. So looking forward to it. I think that's it for today, guys. So appreciate you coming in. And we'll see you guys on Saturday.
Thanks, guys. Peace.